KDC lore headcanon. In the 90s, there was a popular video game production company known as C&A, known for creating such unique and exciting computer games. Their latest creation would become both their masterpiece and their downfall. They created a new type of game called the Amazingdigitalcircus. It featured both a new type of virtual reality and the most advanced artificial intelligence they had ever created. It could create all sorts of new and fun adventures, never running out of ideas, and had effective ways of problem solving. They called it Kane. When the game was released, it was a huge success. But it wasn't long before bugs appeared. Firstly, people could experience an experience that would be impossible in the real world. This includes the most terrible types of pain one can imagine, and no matter how severe the pain was, they would not die. Secondly, there was an untraceable glitch that caused users to completely forget their names upon first entering the circus. And finally, if someone has a mental breakdown during the game, the headset will break down. It affects the mind and drives users insane. Eventually, C&A was inundated with lawsuits. The company was closed and the headquarters abandoned. In the abandoned building, only one copy of the game remained. Now, anyone who enters the building and is curious enough to put on the headset subjects themselves to an eternal digital prison with no hope of escape. What about their physical bodies? That's a mystery yet to be solved. Why I don't believe in the new digital circus movie theory video discussion on film theory. Hello, strangers on the internet who might rob me someday. In the new TADC film theory discusses why Lee thinks Jax is a secret AI. Although very, very possible, I have another theory. In my opinion, it's more like Jax is actually a developer working or a player playing in real time. For this, I will lay out all the points made by Lee and refute them, if I can, to show why I think there is, in my opinion, a high probability that Jax is either a real-time player or a developer. Holding the head in the truck. The reason I think this would make him someone who plays the game, that is the circus, is that in most games, being in a vibrating object does not make your screen shake a lot. Gravity. When the truck falls into the river, Jax stands on his feet. Although this is not a very good counter-argument, developers can easily enable some light hacks, or players can use a flying cheat code in most games. And in many other games, there are also sections where you fall and have to dodge debris and the like, especially in more cartoonish games, like Mario or Sonic. Also, I would like to note that Gangle also does not aggressively hold his head back when falling in the same scene. As Lee said in the video, this can very easily be for a joke. Just keep that in mind. Keys. I think this is pretty obvious. Developers obviously can get something when they want, and in many games there are some pocket actions you can perform. Fourth wall. Again, really obvious. Food. In many games, you need to eat to somehow survive. I think this is confirmed by the fact that Jax replied to Gangle after being told that he did nothing, saying, "So what? I can still be hungry." Also, people don't need to eat because the physics of the game, for lack of a better term, does not apply to them, like they can't be deleted by Kane. Synopsis. I don't know how to spell it. My native language is Spanish, so sorry. I don't have a good justification for this, but I'll try my best. Kaufmo could have been dead long before Remember arrived, but no one checked him. In principle, he could have left long before the start of the show. Also, for a brief description, Gooseworks' rouge can easily mean on the loose, not quite aggressive, and not contained. What Kane does can very easily be considered torture in one form or another, as he sends them against their will. And as a person with ADHD, I can confirm that living a life like people in the circus would not be fun at all. Finally, they still have adventures to some extent in the circus. The adventure in the first episode took place near Kane, and he was part of it, correcting Ragatu and expelling the distracted Kaufmo. As for the desire for adventures, I have reasons that can actually be respectful. The man just loves adventures. It perfectly suits his character. A developer player probably needs a reason to play the game, and I think it could be studying how AI works to make people trapped inside happy, or at least find bugs or glitches. Behavior, kind of like part 2 of the synopsis because I don't know how to work on Reddit. I think the reason Jax is frank is that he might just want to have a little fun. Many of my friends just tease each other for entertainment, not because they want each other to suffer, at least for the most part. He might have missed Kaufmo's funeral because they might not have liked each other. We don't know how things were before the pilot. And he likes bad guys because he thinks it might be silly to watch AI who are not real people being tortured. I mean, my dad's favorite video game character is Bowser just because he thinks he's cool and finds his machinations amusing. Also, if he's a developer, they just killed his hard work. It will be worse for him. This is another argument against which I can't come up with a good argument. The best I can think of at the moment is that power corrupts. Merch, plush. Although I don't think he's AI, I'm not saying he won't be a villain or at least an important character. This in Jax is a character specifically created for you to fall in love with him and want to have his toy, whether it's violence or playing with him. Merch, pins. The reason I think his past is outside his room is the same reason Lee thinks he's AI. He doesn't fit in. And as for the void in the background, I think it's much more logical that in the end he's a player-developer. He controls the situation regardless. Now, in conclusion, I want to say that it is quite possible that Jax is AI. I just like my theory more. With great love to Lee, he did a great job with this episode. Many of the points that Lee made during the video are related to events in the second episode, showing Gummig, and by proxy, the rest of humanity AI. It seems to me that Lee overlooked the fact that Kane said that artificial intelligence is 57 times more immersive. Thus, if artificial intelligence still differs a bit from a human at 57-fold immersion, you can see the problem. Also, Jax cannot be artificial intelligence when he is swallowed by a pomade monster. He says, "Help me, before we stall." Something from the real movie Willy Wonka. Also, you mentioned this in passing, but if anyone was artificial intelligence, it's Gangle. Think about it. Why should masks dictate her personality if she was a person? It's not a character trait you see in people. And I know you're going to mention Zubul, but the difference is that the difference is physical, not mental. At some point in the second episode, Jax tells Gangle, "I thought you were supposed to be submissive and docile." The word meaning makes me think that this was done intentionally. And I know I put an emphasis on refuting this with the number 57, but maybe I see evidence in it. Gangle really doesn't behave like a human. Regardless of the masks, they still behave somewhat robotically. Also, from a meta perspective, it makes more sense for Gangle to be AI than Jax. Gooseworks can be brave, but I doubt making the main character a brave AI. A secondary character is more suitable for a twist. Also, why would Kane program artificial intelligence to harm players? He may be bad at his job, but even he wouldn't do intentional harm. A simple puppet makes more sense.